Hey, I'm Greg with Hall's Tools. We're in the greenhouse today and we want to give everybody an idea of what takes place from planting the plant all the way through. And we're going to start out today by just planting seeds in the greenhouse and give you a little bit of idea of how this happens and what works for us. Now, it may not work for everybody, but this is what we found works for us, and we want to share this with everybody so maybe it could help you out. So what we're going to be planting today is some Swiss chard from Johnny Seeds. Now this particular Swiss chard is pelletized, and you could plant this pelletized with the Hall seeder. You could direct seed it in the soil, but we're running a little behind schedule, and plus we don't have our spot ready down at the expo. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it in the greenhouse and get it going, and then we'll transplant it because we're a little pushed for time, and the environmental conditions we can control in the greenhouse better we can in the field down there. So that's the reason we're going to do that. And we're going to start out by showing you what we do here, so just follow along. First thing, what we use is a commercial tray that the commercial greenhouse guys use. It's a 9 by 18, that means it holds 162 cells. Now these things here last for years, so they're environmentally friendly. You don't use them one time and throw them away. They'll last at least 7-10 years, and we get to reuse them. So the next thing we do is we use a good potting soil. Now this particular brand here is the Pro Mix. This is one I've used for years, and it's one I'm fond of. What you can tell about a good potting mix, as you can see here, it's got 3 parts. It's got peat moss, and the white stuff there is perlite, and the other little shiny stuff in there is vermiculite. Now that's a good commercial potting mix. The one that they sell at the biggest box stores that they call potting mix sometimes is just ground up pine bark. Really don't work good in these situations here. So find what works for you and use that. And the Pro Mix, I'd highly recommend. It's worked for me for years. Now this particular one has mycorrhiza in it. Well, that's a beneficial fungi, and if they got it, sometimes I buy it. If they don't, sometimes don't let that be a deal breaker. It's a beneficial fungi that's not really important for what we're using it for. So if you just get the plain Pro Mix, you'll be fine. So what I do is I fill the tray up. Just take your hand and run it over and try to keep everything leveled off there. Whatever I got left over, I just put back in there. Okay, so here we are. Now this stuff is hard to wet the first couple of times, and what the commercial people do is they use a wetting agent. They'll put a wetting agent in their water and water, but we don't have that, so this is what we do. We got a shower head on the end of a nozzle, and I'll just take it and I'll just lightly wet it down several times. Now I'll let it sit for maybe 30 minutes, and I'll come back and I'll wet it some more. Now right here is some about an hour ago that I did. And what it is, I just come back and I took my 2 fingers and I just punched a little indention in there. So this one here is ready to plant. The pelletized seed, even if you are going to plant in the greenhouse, you can see there, is really neat. And the reason they pelletize these seed is because they're hard to plant, whether they're small, whether they're oblong, or whatever. They're really hard to plant, so they'll pelletize them to make them really good and uniform. So they're really easy to plant. We'll drop one per little hole there. If you get two every now and then, that's nothing to be worried about. Okay, so what I did is I put a seed, at least one, sometimes two, in each little hole here. So that means I got 162 little cells planted. Then when I get through, I take my little bit of potting soil and I just sprinkle on top real lightly. And what you want to do is just barely cover them seeds up. Didn't take a whole lot. The smaller the seed, actually, the least you want to cover it up. Alright, so I got it pretty well covered up. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep it watered. Water it several times there and get it good and saturated. And I'll come out about 3 or 4 times a day and water it, especially after I just plant it. All you gotta do now is wait for it to germinate. Now something that's really important is to make sure you label everything, because believe me, after you plant a few of them, you forget what it is. But use your house label, stick in there, where you'll know what it is. And there you go.